Now on Newsday TV, more snow falling this morning as we continue to dig out, and this may not be the last of it. I'm Macy Egland. We'll have more on the weather coming up, but first, we continue our year-long investigation looking at Long Island's dangerous roads. Today, we're focused on eliminating crash deaths through something called Vision Zero. The global campaign has been embraced in cities around the world. We traveled to D.C. suburb Montgomery County, which mirrors Long Island in many ways, to see how it's worked there.
Saving someone's life is more important than saving someone a few seconds drive time.
Coming up, could Vision Zero save lives on Long Island? We ask the experts. A woman is recovering after being stabbed in the face in Deer Park. Police say Tiana Jones attacked an acquaintance yesterday during a fight at a home on Maida Avenue. They say Jones and the victim live in separate residences there. Dozens of people were displaced by a fire at this West Babylon apartment complex. Flames broke out last night at the Fairfield Suburbia Gardens on Great East Neck Road. A firefighter and 2 residents were hurt. Reaction today to President Trump's State of the Union address. He spoke for a record hour and 48 minutes last night, touting his immigration crackdown and tariff plan.
I used these tariffs, took in hundreds of billions of dollars to make great deals for our country, both economically and on a national security basis. Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars.
Coming up in 1 minute, does the president's view of the state of America match the everyday reality of Long Islanders? All right, let's take a minute first to check on your Wednesday weather. We've got a messy morning commute. Snow this morning should give way to rain. So it is snowing now. It will likely mix with rain later on this morning, so only about an inch will fall. That's the good news. Tomorrow we do have a slight chance for some snow again. Otherwise, it's partly sunny with highs in the upper 30s. The weekend is mostly dry, temps in the 30s and 40s right now. Hopefully we'll get a little melting there, but look at next week. More rain and snow chances for the start of Monday and Tuesday.
Long Island weather is brought to you by PTRC.
All LIRR lines are expected to be back on track this morning. However, there could still be some lingering schedule adjustments. Monday's blizzard caused the railroad's first system-wide shutdown in 4 years. Yesterday, only 6 branches were operational. And most kids are back in school today. Many of the island's public schools will open on schedule. Some of them are on a 2-hour delay. A few are still sticking with remote learning. Today we are breaking down President Trump's first State of the Union address of his second term in office. He promised a big vision for the future of our country.
The golden age of America is upon us, and our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before.
And joining us now to talk about some takeaways from the president's speech is Newsday's political analyst, Joy Brown. Thanks for being with us this morning. Nice to see you bright and early. One of the things President Trump touted was, of course, lower inflation, cheaper gas prices. What are we seeing here? How does that resonate for Long Island?
Well, you know, affordability is a big issue here, not just in Long Island, New York State. As a matter of fact, Bruce Blakeman, who's running for governor, has made that a key part of what he's running on. Now, from what the president said, yes, you're seeing some lower inflation. Cheaper gas, eggs are down. But he talks about his tariffs, and those tariffs, even though the Supreme Court knocked them down, have been having an effect. For example, imported goods. You're going to see that in the grocery store. Ground coffee through the roof, some beef through the roof. So the political rhetoric on one hand sounds great, but what people are seeing in their day-to-day lives is different.
He also spoke about housing, something we know is a big issue here on Long Island. Tell me more about that.
Housing, really big issue on Long Island. Again, 30-year mortgage rates, they're down. The numbers look pretty good, but we need more housing on Long Island. And the materials we need for construction, again, because of the tariffs, are up tremendously, and builders are having problems. Even home renovation projects are being put off because of the high costs there. So once again, you know, we want housing, we need housing. We want housing prices to go down so that people can move on and younger people can buy houses. But the reality on the street is slightly different from what's being said in a political speech.
A lot to dig into. He spoke for an hour and 48 minutes, so you can read more about the State of the Union on our website, newsday.com. Click Get More below that Newsday TV video box. I'm Macy Eglund. We continue our year-long investigation looking at Long Island's dangerous roads. Today we're looking at possible solutions, including something called Vision Zero.
Vision Zero is data-driven.
Vision Zero. The goal is simple: save lives by reducing roadway fatalities and serious injuries to zero. The concept began in Sweden and the Netherlands in the 90s and is now utilized in several areas across the United States, including New York City. It's a collaborative effort based around the 3 E's: education, enforcement, and engineering. But could it work on Long Island, where crash-related deaths are driven by high speeds, outdated street designs, and aggressive driving?
Our goal here in Montgomery County is having 0 deaths by the year 2030.
Montgomery County, a suburb of Washington, D.C., adopted Vision Zero 10 years ago. Now it's enforced in part by 2 former Long Islanders.
The 2 communities are really similar, and the street structure was one where it supported cars going really fast so that they could both go into the city.
The county put together a Vision Zero team, which investigates every serious collision.
They get to immediately go out and do a study on, is this an engineering issue? Could we have used better lighting? Is the signage missing? Anything like that.
And then makes changes based on those findings.
Things like road diets, making our roads more narrow, putting more automated traffic enforcement in high incident areas, and then also supporting public transportation.
Plus separate bike lanes, median islands, even changes as simple as no right on red. New York City adopted the program in 2014, and city officials say it's brought traffic deaths to the lowest rate on record. In 2024 alone, city officials redesigned over 2,600 intersections.
So this is what's called a protected intersection.
Back in Montgomery County, Dutch-style intersections designed to slow drivers down are being put in place. 6 already in use, with more in the works.
Saving someone's life is more important than saving someone a few seconds drive time.
So could Vision Zero work for Long Island? We know we've got a problem on our roadways. Data analyzed by Newsday shows more than 2,100 lives lost over the last decade.
But several different entities control different parts of the roadmap, so it would require a lot of coordination between governments. In other words, a lot of red tape and debate over who pays for what.
You'd have to go individual roadway by roadway to configure it in a way that would make it safer. That's going to be difficult to do. It's going to be expensive to do.
Montgomery County spends over $100 million on road capital projects every year and says they too experienced hurdles and pushback, but realize inaction could cost more lives.
I understand that change is hard. We still have more work to do. But here in Montgomery County, that work is paying off.
Joining me now to talk more about this issue is Newsday's transportation reporter Peter Gill and Wade Holland, who helps oversee the Vision Zero program in that D.C. suburb of Montgomery County. Thank you both for being here. We appreciate your time. Wade, we want to start with you. What differences have you seen a Vision Zero make in your community there?
There's some things big and small of Vision Zero. I think part of it is when you take this kind of radical idea of going towards 0 deaths and serious injuries on your roadways, it does cause you to think a little differently. So it can be things as simple as how we make sure our sidewalks are wider. How do we build our bikeways? How do we get more bikeways in our county? How do we actually change a roadway to make it safer by design, and actually saying that we're going to make a change and actually slow people down? That's kind of a radical shift about how the suburbs have functioned for 50 to 100 years, depending on how old your suburb is. So I think it's that goal and then also the plan can actually make those changes in our roadways and make them safer by design.
It sounds like overall you guys have been successful. Peter, we want to talk to you about this because you've been reporting on this, obviously. Do you think that Vision Zero could potentially help make Long Island roads safer? I mean, to me, it sounds like the reason we looked into Montgomery County is because it is so similar to Long Island. So could this work here?
Yeah, I mean, excellent question, and that is precisely why we went to Montgomery County, because it is a suburban area that has a lot of similarities with Long Island, and Montgomery County has, in terms of its fatalities and serious injuries, is doing a lot better than Long Island, a lot better than the nation. They still have a long way to go. They had 37 deaths last year, and any Vision Zero project is tailored to the place, and so Vision Zero on Long Island would look a lot different necessarily than Montgomery County, because there still are differences. Long Island is a island of many towns, villages, and two cities, along with county and state roads. So there's would have to be coordination, and it also, we already have a few places that are starting Vision Zero here. So Brookhaven Town published a Vision Zero action plan last year. And just looking at some of the projects in there, there are things that are similar to Montgomery County, like more sidewalks, installing roundabouts in certain intersections, but there's less of a focus on pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure. And so, yeah, places will it'll look different in different places. But there will be challenges. One of the major challenges I heard about talking to people in Montgomery County was this tension between speed and safety. And there are people who like their roads just how they are, sure, and don't want to have to slow down. And cost is also an issue. Doing some of these projects takes money. Yeah. It will certainly look different here, but I do think it's possible.
People don't necessarily like change, right? People like to stick to their routines. Wade, what were some of those obstacles that the plan needed to overcome there in Montgomery County? Of course, there's always going to be challenges to a big change like this.
Yeah, I think part of it was we were a very early adopter of Vision Zero, and we were kind of the first county government to do it. So the first kind of action plan that we developed was figuring out what does Vision Zero look like in a place that has very dense urban areas served by rapid transit systems like our metro system, all the way out to places that are agricultural, actual working farms, and have just a lot of green space. So we have everything from very urban areas to very rural areas. So we had to say, okay, this is a great ideas for dense urban areas, but we also had developed a much more context-sensitive design for our roads, because we had to account for everything from those urban to suburban to exurban, all the way out to rural areas. And that was kind of our first couple of years was, yes, we were trying to advance projects, but really starting to rethink about how do we design our roads, what does our planning look like, what does our design guides look like, and making those updates to say, okay, Vision Zero in a large county like ours looks different, and it took time to get those in place. Now those are in place, a lot of our plans and how we design is changing, and those changes are now actually showing up on the roadways.
So just so I make sure I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying even just within Montgomery County itself, you're taking a different Vision Zero approach in different regions of the county. Is that correct?
Correct. So if we have something like downtown Bethesda, which is really close to the District of Columbia, we're looking more at ped bike infrastructure. How do we use signals to slow people down, make sure we have more protected crossings? But if we look out to our rural areas, we may be looking more about run off the road crashes. So is there guardrail needs? Is there pavement friction that we need to look at in terms of if there's a lot of crashes when there's rain or wet roadways? So kind of looking at the whole toolbox and saying what tools can we throw at the problem to actually solve those problems. We
have many different areas across Long Island that look very different, even just a few miles apart. So maybe that is something that we could implement here. Peter, as you were mentioning, town by town, even if it takes that. So Peter, what is next in this? If we can't implement something like Vision Zero here on Long Island, are there any other alternatives to that, or maybe taking bits and pieces of it? Yeah, certainly. I think Vision Zero is the idea that a holistic approach is necessary to reach zero deaths, and that's a lofty goal. And I've talked to people who have said, maybe that's reaching zero deaths by 2040 may not be realistic, but it's still a goal worth shooting for.
But certainly, there are projects that can be done piecemeal on a small scale before it's kind of spread on a wider scale.
Mm-hmm. Well, appreciate both of you for your time talking about this. Of course, an important issue, right? We're talking about deaths on our roadways and saving lives. So appreciate your thoughts, Wade. Thank you so much. And Peter for joining us. You can read more about this story on our website, Newsday.com, and of course, see our entire year-long Dangerous Roads investigation there as well. Now try some delicious dishes or indulge in some much-needed R&R while you wait to catch your flight. Let's go to LaGuardia Airport with Carissa Kelman.
Terminal C at LaGuardia Airport is home to all Delta flights, and if your flight is delayed or you have a layover, here's everything you can do in Terminal C. At LaGuardia's Terminal C, downtime can feel like a reward, whether you're going on a food tour or relaxing in the lounge. The terminal has 4 concourses, and the best strategy is simple. Scan the map, walk, and explore. Onward. Because the dining alone resets your expectations of airport food. Every dining option here really feels like you're in the middle of Manhattan. The restaurants are full sit-down spots that make you forget you're inside an airport. Each concourse mixes quick bites with complete meals, from Calista Taverna's wood-burning grill to a steakhouse and a new food hall built for travelers on the go. My favorite? You can find the iconic brunch spot from New York City, Bubby's, right here in LaGuardia. Famous for their pancakes and chicken. Not chicken and waffles, chicken and pancakes. This might be worth coming to the airport early for. Actually, it is, yes. If you're not in a rush, the Delta Sky Club is a destination on its own. It's the biggest of its kind with buffets, bars, runway views, and a year-round sky deck that feels more like a rooftop than an airport lounge. And for free skyline views, this outdoor terrace gives you a chance to get a breath of fresh air, but definitely check it out when the temperatures are a little warmer. Terminal C also has a sensory room, a calm space designed to help travelers decompress before a flight. Between standout food, stunning views, and places built to recharge, you can turn time at LaGuardia Airport into part of the trip. For Newsday TV, I'm Carissa Kelman.
And you can find more fun things to do at LaGuardia on our website, Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. See more on these stories on Newsday.com and watch us streaming anytime on Local Now, YouTube, and the other streaming services you see here. I'm Macy Eglund. We've got more local news coming up.
Vision Zero is a global safety campaign aimed at ending fatal and serious crashes. Newsday investigates whether the strategy embraced by New York City and governments worldwide can work on Long Island. A vision for safety. Now available at Newsday.com/dangerousroads.